I realized that the kids here were pussies. Because if you have had everything given to you, you don't know the value of it. You don't know what it's like to struggle. You don't know what it's like to hustle. I want to make an impact. I want to make a difference. And we weren't supposed to be in contact. And obviously we did. Because I used to climb through the balconies. And then every night we used to go out and party. I was like, fuck it, if we catch COVID, we catch COVID. We're here to have fun. I'm not going to sit in the hotel room like it was like 30 degrees outside, right? Like, check your phone. What's on your search history?
Shit.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
A lot of guys are cooked.
Yeah, I know. It's the same for me, don't worry.
Younes, how did growing up in Iran differ from growing up in the UK?
Wow, getting straight into it, huh? So, I would say when I came to this country, I realized that the kids here were pussies. And I'm being serious, right? Because in Iran, and I went to a private school and everything, but like in Iran, like if you misbehave, the teachers beat you up. And that's not a joke, yeah? And also the standard of education is much higher. Like also, like when I came here, maths was super easy for me. And I was like, when I came here like around year 8, I was 13. So year 8.
Yeah, that would be year 8.
Yeah, so I came here and then I realized the maths level is very low and stuff. I couldn't speak English when I came. So at first I had a hard time at school. Obviously, you know how kids are.
Yeah.
But then I had to get my English. But then I used to get into a lot of fights, like physical fights. I wasn't the type to be bullied. So I couldn't answer them back, but I used to. And I think it was a lot of character building. There was a lot of like character building when I came here. I enjoyed my childhood, very much so. I had a good childhood. Then we had to move here because of different reasons.
So when you were in Iran, was that Islamic Republic or was that when it was controlled by the Shah?
Islamic Republic, because the revolution happened in 1979.
79.
I was born in 94.
And your parents and grandparents got to experience both?
Yes, sure. I mean, my grandparents were born like 1940s and 1950s. So yeah, they were like in their 20s and 30s when the revolution happened. My parents were probably in their teens or childhood. And everyone says it's just such a shame. And they don't even know what happened, to be honest. They say it was like a British and American coup and the people were religious and stuff like that. So they didn't know what they were doing, and also a lot of propaganda, Islamic extremism.
Yeah, there are loads of things fell into place for that to happen. It's a shame.
Exactly.
Were there any specific values that your parents instilled from you at a young age that contributed to your success?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up relatively well in my childhood. So I think I saw, when I was a kid, I grew up very well. So we had a very big house in Iran and stuff. And I had a very good childhood. I had a lot of friends, used to go to a lot of like birthday parties. That was quite popular. And then because of certain things that happened, we had to move here and we had nothing. And my dad was in Iran. My mom came here pregnant with my little brother. So we had to start from zero, start from scratch, like from zero. So, but I think it installed that mentality in me that I can make it back there. Like I can lose everything and then I can bring it back up again. So I would say I have a rich man's mentality. I don't have a poor man's mentality. I have an abundance mentality rather than a scarcity mentality. So yeah, but it's good because it builds character. For example, I know a lot of people that just had handouts all their life. They had everything given to them. And you know, when they get older, they're just, again, pussies. Like they don't know what it's like to be rejected. They don't know what it's like to work hard. They don't know what it's like to, because when I came, I started working, I was like 17. I started to be a waiter, bartender, events, lifeguard, swim teacher, football coach, like all these basic jobs. I went to uni and I had to work my way up basically. So yeah, I think it builds a lot of character in all aspects of life. Like we was talking about this earlier, like, you know, because if you have had everything given to you, you don't know the value of things. You don't know what it's like to struggle. You don't know what it's like to hustle.
Yeah, but it does build character.
No,
Hardship does build character.
No, it does. And also, like, for example, I give you a basic example. If you want to be good with women, you have to have the courage to go and speak to them. And you have to go through that trial and error of being rejected, being heartbroken. And then with time, you just get better and better and better to the point like you almost become unstoppable.
Because hard times create strong men.
Exactly.
And easy times create weak men.
And weak men create hard times.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And with your upbringing, were you up were you brought up as a Christian, Muslim?
I was born into a very liberal Muslim family, so I wouldn't say I was Muslim, but my granddad was very devout Muslim, great guy, by the way. So this idea that I speak bad about Muslims, I don't speak bad about Muslims. I critique Islam as a religion, or I critique every religion. I think every religion is, to some extent, I mean, no idea is beyond criticism. That's where I stand. But then people take it personal. I'm not talking about Muslims, I'm talking about Islam. And that's not to say Judaism doesn't have some dark parts, or Christianity, especially the Old Testament, doesn't have to, or any idea, or feminism, or LGBTQ, all these things can be criticized. We shouldn't have this woke mind virus that you can't speak about anything just in case you offend someone. Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sometimes the truth hurts and people
Exactly.
have to deal with it.
And I think the truth shall set you free. In a society where you can't criticize bad ideas, then that society will collapse, because lies will start to take hold in that society. So going back to your question, I was born to a very liberal Muslim family. My granddad, I'm a quarter Pakistani. My granddad was from Pakistan. Quarter Turkish, you can say, because both my parents are half Iranian, and then my mom's half Pakistani, my dad's half Turkish. So I would say I'm 25% Turkish, but 50% Iranian. I see myself as a Persian because I was born in Iran and I speak the language.
Yeah.
But so I used to go to Friday prayer with my granddad when I was like 3 years old, like this big. And I know how to pray. I read the Quran and stuff. And so do you want me to tell you the whole story of my spiritual evolution?
Yeah, why not?
So when I came to this country, because I was born in Iran, obviously you have a lot of brainwashing in Iran with these Shia Muslims of 12 imams, and I always knew it was bullshit ever since I was a kid, because I used to like I don't really like these guys, these mullahs and these ayatollahs. I used to see them on TV. Sometimes they used to come to my school. When I came to this country, obviously I had to go to a Christian school, right?
Yeah.
And I learned a lot about Christianity when I was like 13, 14, 15. And then I became an atheist around 15, right? And from 15 to 25, I was a hardcore atheist. I was like, Richard Dawkins type of, Christopher Hitchens type. And then when I was 25, because of a very deep psychedelic experience that I had, I realized that God is an energy and a frequency that flows through everything. So God is an energy and a frequency and a vibration. So this conceptualization of religion that God is the man in the sky, I don't believe that. I think that you have God inside of you. Mm-hmm. And you're a part of God. You're a drop in the ocean. You're not ocean. You're a drop in the You're not a drop in the ocean. You're ocean in a drop. Mm-hmm. So what reflects into the universe, what's out there is also inside you. What's reflected in the macro is also reflected in the micro. So I'm deeply spiritual. I believe in God. But at the same time, I think sometimes religion almost hijacks the spirituality. So I think religion is different perspectives on God throughout history.
So you're not you're not part of a religion. You just believe in God as an
energy, as a frequency, as part of the universe. And I think the more aligned you are with that energy, the better things will happen for you.
What were your dreams as a young boy?
Interesting question, actually, because I was almost very much an idealist. Like I always thought in terms of, I want to make an impact. I want to make a difference. I want to be someone that's remembered. Like when kids, you ask them, what do you want? I want a big house. I want a Lamborghini. I want this and that. Yeah, those things are nice. I'm not going to say they're not nice. I like them. But I always thought about like being one of the most influential people in history. Like that was the goal for me in my head. Like, what can I do that's going to have an impact on the culture?
And to leave a legacy.
To leave a legacy. Yeah. I know some people have a different philosophy, because some people say, well, who cares if you leave a legacy or not? We just only live once and you die. And I'm like, yeah, sure, but you have to live a life worth living.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if your life is not exciting as fuck, then you're doing something wrong. You're not taking enough risk. If it's not a thrill, if you're bored, then you're doing something wrong. That's what I think.
You're on everyone's TVs, whether it's in movies or on the news channel. What kind of created the shift from going from TV shows to activism?
Good question. So basically, my career progression was basically when I graduated from university, I started getting a job in finance and I hated it, right? And one of the guys I was working with, he said, oh, by the way, I was an extra in, Tarzan. I was like, oh, really? And then he was doing this as a side hustle. So I was like, and also I trained when I was like 18, so around your age. Between 18 and 20 for fun and as a hobby, I used to do like performing arts. So I used to do theater, and I done like, Shakespeare stuff and physical theater and contemporary, urban, all these things. So like I used to act. And I done that on and off for 2 years. And I was like, well, why don't I become? Because this is the thing. When I was like a teenager, I always wanted to become a rapper or like an actor. I always wanted to be famous,
In the
right?
starlight.
Yeah, in the starlight.
Yeah.
So I became an extra. So the first film I done was Aladdin. So I saw Will Smith on stage, and then I became an extra in like hundreds of different films, right? From Fast and Furious to many. Like there's so many different ones that I done as an extra, right?
Holding a gun up.
Yeah, exactly. I played a terrorist, I played everything. And then I started becoming more and more featured, right? So I was like in Ant-Man and the Wasp, like getting featured, like one line here, one line there, not like main roles, but like just getting in there, right? 10-second clips, 15-second clips in different Hollywood films. So then I got approached by MTV to like appear on this show called Love at First Lie, which was filmed in Malta. And I hate reality TV, by the way. I think it's like systematic dumbing down of society.
Pussies.
Exactly.
Yeah, it feels, when you watch it, it feels like you're just wasting your time.
Exactly. And girls love it, by the way. Girls are
they
the
get
ones...
hooked to it. They can't stop watching
I don't know why. But anyway, they called me that, oh, do you want to come on this show on MTV's? And then I was like, okay, what is it? They were like, oh, it's called Love at First Lie. I was like, okay, what is it about? They were like, oh, there's 12 couples in a house. Half of them are fake, the other half are real. And the fake ones, and like you have to vote to think who's fake and who's real. Are you in a relationship? I was like, no, I'm not in a relationship. And then she was like, oh, can you forge a fake one? So I messaged this girl, like she was from Estonia. I was like, okay, do you want to like go on a show with me? And she was like, yeah, sure. I've already been on a reality TV show in like Sweden or something like that. And they took us to Tulum. It was very nice and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, great. Let's go and do the interview. So we went through the interview stages. We got in, went to Malta. They put us in a 5-star hotel. Great experience. It was during COVID times as well. I can tell this story
So you
now.
got a little break.
No, so it was during COVID times, and they were making this whole fuss about, oh,
Did you get the vaccine?
maybe yes or maybe no. I have the badges, but who knows? I'm not gonna reveal now. But I had to get the vaccine to go, and then I had to prove a fake one because they wouldn't fly us out otherwise.
Yeah.
So when we went there, they put us in like 2 hotels, but separate hotels. Like I was in this room, she was in this room, and we weren't supposed to be in contact. And obviously we did, because I used to climb through the balconies from the other side, go to the other side, and come back. And we used to have a chaperone that used to come and knock on our door. Oh, do you want any water? Do you want any food? You're like, yeah, sure. And then she used to finish work at 8 p.m., right? And then every night we used to go out and party. Like literally every single night. I was like, fuck it, if we catch COVID, we catch COVID. We're here to have fun. I'm not going to sit in the hotel room like it was like 30 degrees outside, right? Anyway, so I went there, came back, done acting. But then around 2022, 23, late 2022, I entered a new relationship. And I realized this whole acting and extra stuff is just not paying the bills as much as like sometimes I was doing amazingly well, like I was making like 10K a month, and then some months I was making 0. And
You enjoyed it though? It was fun?
It was very fun. It was fun. It was an experience. But this is how my media sort of savviness and media personality grew, because I was on TV. I was like doing different series. So my confidence grew in front of the camera doing these things, right?
Yeah.
So around 2022, towards the end of 2022, I entered a new relationship. I realized that, the acting stuff doesn't pay the bills. I studied politics and international relations. So I became a teacher, like teaching like GCSE and A-level students, politics, economics. And as I was teaching, I realized that these kids like really look up to me. Like they really like me, they were really engaged with me, and I was like giving these lectures, and they really liked listening to what I had to say. And I was a very popular teacher in school. Like people used to clap when I walked in. Like they liked it because I wasn't
the good teachers, ones that people like. Yeah,
exactly. So because I was chill, I didn't really care what
calling other teachers pussies.
Yeah, probably. I used to make a lot of inappropriate jokes, and so anyway, and as I was doing it, I realized that I have a good skill of public speaking because I can speak to a room of 20 or 30 people, hold their attention for like a good hour, right?
Yeah, it's hard to keep their attention, especially when it's like even at school,
Yeah.
the teacher's speaking.
Yeah,
They're a good
exactly.
teacher if they can keep everyone engaged for at least
Exactly.
an hour.
And during that time, I was just listening to different podcasts like Patrick Bet David, Joe Rogan, all the top guys. I was listening to them like 20. I never watched a film.
PBD's Persian, no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
PBD
give
version.
me PBD vibes.
Yeah, PBD. Yeah. So I was just watching these guys, and I was like, you know what? Why don't I start this? Why don't I start doing this? Like this, because they say the best way to find your passion is to see what you're interested in, and if you're interested in something, then that's probably the career you should pursue.
Yeah.
Right? Like check your phone. What's on your search history?
Oh,
Those
no.
are,
Shit.
yeah, yeah. I know
Yeah,
what
a
you
lot
mean.
of guys are cooked.
Yeah, I know. It's the same for me. Don't worry. Anyway, so I was like, okay, cool, you know. And also at the same time, I used to like see a lot of these like ill-informed, virtue signaling idiots online that have a platform and they have something to say, but they're completely wrong because they don't have the education, they don't have the lived experience, they don't have nothing. So I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to start making my own videos around September or August, September 2023. I started making my own videos, and the first videos I made were like these really long format videos. And the school got in contact with me because the first video was about Trump, the second was about LGBTQ. I think the 10th one was about, like, I started tackling like controversial
Yeah.
topics. So around October, the school, the headmaster called me in and she was like, oh, look, we've heard, because some of the kids, I didn't promote this, some of the kids had found my videos online. And they
It
really
always
liked.
happens. Whenever a teacher puts stuff online, it gets found every single time.
Exactly.
On the group chats.
Yeah, exactly. So they started going like, becoming a big thing in school. Like people were like, oh, sir, I watched the video, I really agree with you. So the school didn't like it, right? Because I went against their ethos.
Yeah, the ideology.
I was like at the ideology of 100 different genders. What do you mean? There's no 100 different genders.
Yeah, all
There's
that
only-
bullshit.
There's 2 genders, right?
Yeah.
You can be a lesbian, you can be gay, but you're not. If you're a man, you're not a woman, and if you're a woman, you're not a man.
Yeah,
And you're
agrees.
not non-binary, and you're not a two-spirit fairy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? Anyway, so the headmaster calls me and she's like, "Oh, Younes, look, if you want to continue working here, you can't be making these videos. It goes against that." And then she gave me some bullshit excuse about, "Oh, well, we have this policy that all the teachers should have their profiles private." And I was like, "Look, you know, we have lecturers that work in Harvard that are allowed to make videos, like your Chelsea Academy. Like, you know, what makes you better? You feel like you're better than Harvard." And they were like, "Okay, look, if you want to work here, you can't do this." So from October to December, I had to take a break. Because at that moment in time, I had to like weigh it in my head. Like, do I care about being a teacher and the money that I make from it, or do I just want to go full force? And then during that time, luckily I made some money outside doing other things. So I had a bit of a leeway for like a year. Okay, I was like, okay, I can provide for myself for a year now. I've made a little bit of money. So around December, I just had my notice in. I was like, I'm not coming back from January. So before the Christmas period, January, I'm not coming in. And then I went just all in. I went all in by
Full controversy.
not full controversy, just all in. And then I remember it clearly, around 17th of January 2024, one of my videos went viral. It was shared all over the social media. Robin Robinson and so many big people shared it. I think got like tens of millions of views across all platforms. And then from then on, you had the snowballing effect. I just started making videos. By May, I was on TV, like GB News, Talk TV, different places. And then I started working with different platforms, Reason, Visegrad.
How do you find it going like big news channels like GB News and saying the things that you say?
I rather enjoy it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I rather enjoy it. I like being... I'm not controversial for the sake of being controversial. I'm controversial because I think if there's something that needs to be said, then I'm going to say it. No matter how offensive people may find it.
So did you receive death threats
I did at first, yeah.
at first?
At first, yeah.
Now they kind of chilled out.
I still do to some extent today. Not death threats, but like people trying to attack me. I never even respond. At first I used to respond, but now I don't even respond. Just ignore them, and they say a lion doesn't turn when a dog barks. So if you want to waste your energy responding to idiots, like, okay, fine. If you want to make a video about it and attack me based on facts, fine. I might respond to you. But if you're going to just leave a comment or do something stupid, no. But I think over time, you start filtering people out. Like, they filter themselves out, actually. And as a matter of fact, I would say 99% of the people that watch my videos, they are, like, they leave nice comments.
Yeah.
I don't delete any comments. I leave everything there to be. It's good for the algorithm, actually. Just let them say whatever. But if you go through the comments, you see like 99% of people are in favor. So, yeah.
But what about on the street? Have you ever had any
No.
situation?
No, but the thing is, I'm just not a fearful person. I think like a lot of people are scared on my behalf. Like even my friends and my family members, like, Younes, be careful, we might get assassinated by the Islamic Republic. But I just don't have this mentality.
Is that a possibility though?
I mean, one of my friends got stabbed, Puriya Zerati. He lives in Israel now.
Oh, yeah?
He used to work for Iran International. He got stabbed outside his house.
Wow.
Yeah, in Wimbledon. So, by Islamic Republic's agents they paid Romanians to go and stab him. So that way they kind of...
It's madness, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm aware. I'm aware of the risks. I know I'm taking the risks, but I think it's a risk that will pay off. And I think it's a risk that's good for humanity.
For the greater good.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you've been on news channels like GB News, what's the main subject that you speak about and discuss?
Everything. Mostly to do with the Middle East stuff. But I also spoke about like environmental hoax. I don't know, many subjects. Like, because I used to be on a panel Saturday 5, and we used to always have 2 subjects each. So I've been there like 5-6 times, about 10, 11 different things.
How would you define success?
3 things: health, wealth, and relationships. So if you're wealthy, and not wealthy in a sense that you work a job you hate. You're wealthy doing something you love. So if you work in finance for Goldman Sachs and you're an investment banker, but you work 80 hours a week and you hate your job and you barely have any free time and you probably get 2 weeks vacation a year, that's not for me wealthy, right? Why? Because you're sacrificing your health and your relationships. So I think you need to have these 3 things at the same time to be fully successful.
Yeah, no trade-offs.
No trade-offs. So you need to be wealthy, doing something you love, healthy. So would you rather be a 80-year-old billionaire, or would you be 20-year-old and broke? I'd rather be 20 years old and broke, right? So healthy, look after yourself, train hard, just be healthy. Hopefully you don't have any diseases, cancer, stuff like that you can't really control. And lastly is relationships. So you want to have good relationships, good connections, good network, good friends, having a good relationship with your parents, with your siblings, with your children one day, with your wife,
with your family and friends, I guess, too, have disconnected yourself from Islam and becoming more
My family is relatively liberal, but at first they were like, oh, why are you saying this? You're going to put yourself in danger. And I think they didn't agree with me at first, but I think over time they sort of evolved to agree with me. Or they maybe just realized I don't really care. So they're like, okay, just leave them.
Agree with you with your stance on Iran, or
No, the stance on Iran they 100% agree with. I think the Islam stuff, they were a bit hesitant because they thought I'm putting myself in danger. That's why. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is next for you? Any new goals or aspirations? Maybe the next leader of Iran?
Yeah, sure. Hopefully one day. I think Shahzada Reza Pahlavi, I like him. And I think PBD spoke about this the other day, right? You know who Shahzada Reza is? The son of the king.
The son of the Shah.
Yeah, the son of the Shah. So, look, I like the guy. I agree with 99% of what he says. But as PBD said, and as I said 6 months ago, and I got attacked for it, he just doesn't have the charisma or the boldness to be a leader. He says all the right things, but I think as a leader, I think 90% of what makes you a leader is charisma. If you don't have charisma, you're not a leader.
You have to be charismatic.
You have to be charismatic. You need to be bold. You need to be out there. Like the other day, he was coming like this, like during the peak of Israel-Iran war, right? He used to come out and give like a very like inspiring speech. He comes out there and just reading off a piece of paper. Oh, you need to go. The Islamic Republic needs to go. Like, what kind of a speech is that? Like, dude, you need to come out there. People get out. Let's cause a revolution. Like something like that. You know how Trump talks or how Netanyahu talks. You feel inspired.
Yeah.
I just don't find the guy inspiring. And it goes back to my first point that I made, actually, that I think Shahzada Reza Pahlavi has had everything given to him as a kid. So he was born with a silver spoon in his... He didn't know what it's like to go through hardship. Yeah, he might have gone through hardship with the revolution and his parents, but at the end of the day, his parents like broke like 50, 60 million dollars. So he always lived in comfort. He never had to work a day in his life. He, apart from his activism, don't get me wrong, he's had a hard life. His two of his siblings either died or were murdered. Obviously, his dad had to go through what he went through. So I'm not saying by no means he had an easy life, but I just don't think he is capable enough. I just don't see it in him. And I always said this, okay, he can be the main center figure of change, and then there needs to be other people around him that support him, because he can't do it by himself. So you need people like PBD around him, people like me around him, people like whoever. There's a lot of Iranians. If you actually go into the diaspora, there's a lot of successful, entrepreneurial, smart, educated Iranians all around the world. So we need to make a cabinet of 50 to 100 people. He can be the centerpiece, right? But he can't do it by himself. And the fact that hasn't even created a cabinet yet. Like, dude, you need to create a cabinet. Like, your chance was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You would have said, look, this is the cabinet, this is a new government, we're going to come and take over. But instead, he was just giving these sort of, I don't know how to put, lackluster, glum almost speeches. You know?
Like he doesn't believe in it.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't believe in it, or maybe he doesn't even want to be the leader. Maybe he's just been pushed into that position. When you're like a kid, it's like someone pushes you to keep doing stuff, you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think just because he's the son of the Shah, he's been pushed in that position. He just doesn't seem like he wants it even. And even in the podcast with PBD, like 2-3 years ago, he was on PBD. And PBD asked him like 10 times, do you want to be the next leader of Iran? And they said, oh, I'm going to help. But what does that mean? What do you mean you're going to help? what does that mean? If you were a real leader, say, yeah, I want to be the next leader. Sure. I'm going to stick my neck out there. Cool. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least I'm going to be assertive about it, you know?
Where does he live at the moment?
I think Washington. But he was in London like a couple of days ago. He met with Nigel Farage, which I actually know personally. I used to work in communication strategy in Reform Party last year. So during the election cycle. So I think it's all good. He's making the right moves, but he's just not
ballsy enough.
That's all. Yeah,
he needs to go out there, put himself out there more.
Exactly. So that's what I think. At the end of the day, I know he's probably our best option, right? But PBD is right. PBD got attacked a lot last week for saying, this is exactly what I said 6 months ago, and I got attacked for it by the pro-monarchist, and you know, they got really upset. Oh, how dare you? And they were like accusing me of like being a spy for Islamic Republic or being like a mujahideen. I was like, dude, like you can't criticize him. He's not God.
Yeah.
You can't criticize him. You know, like there's a I agree with what he says. Like how he speaks. He's a very educated, eloquent man. He knows what he's talking about. But it's just look. There's a book called Wartime Leader and Peacetime Leader. He's a great peacetime leader.
Yeah.
He's not a wartime leader. As a wartime leader, you need to have that edge about you. I just don't see it in him.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When it comes to business, are you doing anything property-wise? Or?
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm working with Thrive State. We've opened the London office. We have offices in 7 countries in the world. So we head the London office and we do off-plan properties in Dubai. And we have deals straight with the developer, so you don't pay agency fees. So it's a great opportunity for anyone that wants to invest in Dubai. We can get, and the pound is quite strong compared to the dirham. So if you buy around now, you're going to get like 20% discount, you know?
Are you invested in Dubai?
I know many people that are.
Would you want to yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Why not? I'm thinking of actually to do it towards the end of this week, or this year, I should say. But I have family members that have. They bought in Damak, I think. And I think it's a very lucrative market because the rental yields are 8 to 12% a year, which is much higher than London. And also the capital appreciation is 20 or 30%.
Yeah.
So if you buy a property in Dubai now for, let's say, 1 million, in 5 years' time, it will be worth 2, if not more. But in London, if you buy a property for $1 million, in 5 years' time, it will probably be worth 1.1, 1.2.
Yeah, that's appreciation.
Great appreciation. It's very lucrative. And Dubai still hasn't peaked yet. People think Dubai has peaked. Dubai will peak around 2030.
Wow.
That will be the peak of Dubai. So I think we're still 5 years. And then I think in 2030s, all the way to 2040, it will be the best city in the world. It already is one of the best cities in the world, I would say. I mean, London used to be
especially safety-wise.
Yeah.
Tax.
So London used to be the best city in the world. like 10 years ago. And because of weak leadership and virtue signaling politicians like Keir Starmer, it's just really gone downhill.
It's one of those English pussies that you're talking about.
Exactly, but he's very, it's not even to do with pussy, they're just fake. That's the word I would use. They're fake people that are not courageous enough to come and say. That's why I like Farage, you know. I think I think he focuses way too much on immigration, because if you keep talking about immigration, then you're going to come across racist. You can use that as a common thread amongst them. But there's so many other policies that they have, like freedom of speech, or like no tax for someone that earns less than 20K.
Yeah.
You know, so these are good policies. But look, I think unless we get our act together quick, Europe is falling. Europe has already kind of fallen. It's funny because now everyone from Europe is going to Dubai.
Yeah.
So I think Europe is going to fall, and Dubai and places like that. Maybe America is going to go up with Trump, unless this country manages to elect someone like Nigel Farage.
So do you think you're going to stay here, or do you see yourself moving out very soon?
Look, going back to the success question, I think one of the pillars of success is time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if you're bound by a country, then you're not quite successful. So my goal is to be location. I can always have London as my base.
One base.
Yeah, one base, because in terms of time zones, it's also very good, because like in the center of the world. But like ideally, I would like to travel to Dubai, 3 months in Dubai, 3 months in Miami, 3 months in London, 3 months somewhere else.
That's very similar to
you
me.
got what we got.
Yeah.
We literally said 3 months in Dubai, no, 2 months in Dubai, 2 months in Thailand, 2 months in Marbella, 2 months in Tel Aviv, 2 months in London.
Yeah, exactly, something like that.
Yeah, it's good to have change constantly.
Yeah, exactly. It changes the energy as well.
I get bored in one place. Like, honestly, in the past 2 years, I can't stay longer than a month in London, or I get so bored, and I force myself to leave. Like, even I had A-levels recently. I went 2 weeks before A-levels were in Italy. Then during A-levels, I had a week break. I went to Spain during A-levels. And then as soon as A-levels are done, went away again. Like, I just get bored in London.
No, definitely. London is not where it used to be. I think all the hot chicks have left to go to Dubai.
Yeah. So where are your chicks then? In London or they're in Dubai?
They're international, mate.
International, everywhere.
Everywhere.
You got on their contact details, you got the city that they live in. So whenever you visit
I keep a mental note of it, or I just check their Instagrams. No, I'm joking. I mean, yeah, London is still good. Let's not be ungrateful. London is still good, because sometimes I get this thing, like I hate London, and then I go away for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I start missing London.
That's exactly what I have. I go away for a few weeks, and I realize, like, although as much as I say London's like this, but I get back and it's like, you know what, it's still great.
Yeah.
It has its flaws, but
it's still a good city. I just think the problem I have with London is not the place itself, it's the people. I think just people here are very pessimistic and very grey, and
a bit depressing, though.
Bit depressing, yeah. I think what I like, for example, about the American mentality is that in America, everyone thinks they're going to become the next president of the United States. Like, they're brought up with that kind of self-belief.
Yeah, the American dream.
Yeah, exactly, American dream. Everyone here is the opposite. Everyone's like, okay, yeah, you're never going to go become president, so go and become a plumber. Like, that's the mentality they have here.
Less aspirations.
Less optimistic, less driven, I would say, more depressing. I mean, the weather is nice, but it's grey again today.
It's nice now.
The weather's part of it, but even like architecture, for example, like it's much more gloomy and grey, whereas you go to other countries and it's like colourful and this, but here it's all just same colour.
Yeah.
Greys.
True.
What advice would you give to 18-year-old Younes?
Oh, wow. I would say work harder, party less, don't waste time on nonsense, follow your dreams, follow your aspirations, be yourself, speak your truth, your intuition is correct, do what you want now. Like, I started 29, like this whole podcasting thing. But, you know, before, when I was like 19, I was with at least 2 guys that I went to acting school with, actually, you know, when I told you.
Yeah.
And then there was 3 of us. One guy was Portuguese, the other guy was British, I think. And then we started this channel called UK Humor, right? And guess what we did? We just went and played pranks on people. And our first video got like 160K views. And this is way back in 2013.
We may have seen the video.
And also the second one got more than 500,000 views. And then for whatever reason we stopped, because like the guy had to go to Portugal, he took all the equipment, and I couldn't be bothered to go and buy equipment myself and stuff. But I could have done it on my phone. So one of the regrets I have in my life is that why didn't I start this earlier? Like I started earlier, then I stopped for a whole 10 years. Then I got back into it, even though I was in media stuff in between. But yeah,
But you're also a teacher. What do you think of the education system?
it's rotten.
It's rotten.
It's totally rotten. I think it's not only the way we teach, which is outdated, which is like a Victorian style, because the education system is not here to educate you, it's here to indoctrinate you, right? They're just training you to go and become a worker, clog in the factory. It doesn't teach you how to be entrepreneurial. It doesn't teach you how to do many things. Yeah, in terms of some certain skills, look, I have a master's degree and I went to quite a good university, yeah? But you do not need a degree to be successful. Why? Because we have the internet. Almost all the information in the world now is for free on the internet. So if you truly want to learn something, you can learn it. I would only advise going to university if you want to become a lawyer or a doctor.
Yeah, something that would need the qualification.
Yeah. But if you want to go and study something generic, then I would advise against it.
Yeah, I dropped out. I didn't even finish my A-levels.
But also, don't get me wrong, I think to some extent, university or education teaches you how to be methodological.
Yeah, I think you need at least a basic understanding of English and math. It's like
No, basic English, but also I would. The thing is, like, it would teaches you how to write, how to speak, and how to think. You speak much better, you write much better, and you think much better if you've gone to university, because they teach you. You're forced to read. The more you read, I mean, you can read outside, but like, I give you an example. Like, for example, I know this guy. He's very, very successful in property, right? Very successful, and you would think like he's a very like sort of sophisticated guy, but then as soon as he opens his mouth, he sounds like someone from Northern Road selling like vegetables. You know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe. I'm like, dude, like, come on, like you're a multi-millionaire. Come on, like you just speak properly. You don't need to sound like you're from EastEnders, you know? But because he didn't go to university, he's dropped out from school. Obviously, that's not the case for everyone, but I think education is something long-term. You learn till the day you die. The same way you have to train till the day you die. You know, it's like going to university. It's like saying, oh, I trained from 18 to 21 every single day, so I shall be fit for the rest of my life. No, you should train for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Education is the same. There's a difference between education and indoctrination.
That's one of the, even in our religion, Judaism, that's one of the key things, to constantly educate yourself, and education is one of the most valued things in our religion, to just constantly learn and study.
What is the biggest problem today?
I would say the woke mind virus. So this sort of pathological obsession with equity, and this fact that women think they're men.
But we should tax the rich.
Yeah, we should tax the rich, or free Palestine, siding with terrorists like Islamic Republic. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's funny because people that were born in that environment are less likely to think those things. Whereas here, because you had so much freedoms and so much comfort ever since you was a kid, you don't have many problems, so you start creating oppression in your head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I call the woke mind virus. I think the biggest problem the West has is the woke mind virus. They need to defeat the woke mind virus.
And do you think we're seeing a World War III in our lifetime?
I'm not sure about World War III. I don't think it's going to be I don't think we're going to have like a full-scale war. Because if we have a full-scale war, probably the world will end. Because we have so many nuclear weaponry. I think the next big war we will see will be like a cyber war.
Online.
Or a cyber war, or AGI, like artificial general intelligence, something like that. Or like something that happened like COVID.
Unconventional war, not...
Unconventional war.
Yeah.
Like almost like a... Yeah, basically mindfuck.
Going back to Dubai, have your views on Iran and the things you see online ever affected you business-wise in a Muslim country or a Muslim city?
No, but the thing is, Dubai, they do not follow Sharia law. In some aspects they do, some aspects they don't. You can drink, women are always half naked there. Like, that's not Islamic, So countries like UAE and Saudi Arabia now have realized that they cannot come to the 21st century living by traditional laws.
Yeah.
Like Islam is going through its own renaissance, an age of enlightenment. The same thing that happened to Christianity 200 or 300 years ago
Yeah.
is happening now in Islam, right? And I really salute people like Mohammed bin Salman, because I think he's a very smart guy. The other day, he came out and said, we will not normalize relations with Israel unless they destroy Hamas.
Yeah, I heard that.
So he's basically pro-Israel. That's
Yeah.
what he's saying. Half the rockets that were shot by Iran towards Israel were
Taken out
intercepted
by
by him.
Yeah.
So he's a smart guy. Look at what he's building. Look at all the investments he's doing. He's a very clever guy. So I think Mohammed bin Salman and people like him, people in Dubai, are the reasons why I'm very hopeful about the Middle East long term. And I think Iran could be much better than these countries because we have better weather, better culture, better food. We have skiing. We do everything.
That's food. Oh,
Yeah, but the thing is in Iran we have mountains you can ski on.
yeah, I've seen.
Saudi Arabia is a desert. So basically Dubai, they built it on a desert.
Yeah.
They don't have much natural beauty.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
artificial.
It's artificial,
all
whereas
created.
Iran is more natural.
Yeah.
So it's like a basket bread for the whole of the Middle East. So yeah, hopefully one day Iran will be free, and then we'll see
Have you ever
amazing.
been
And I want to open my own office in Tehran one day
Oh wow!
for the real estate thing. Yeah.
But have you ever been back since?
No.
You've never been back. You
No.
left Iran, never looked back.
No,
Always
I'll
dreamed.
probably get killed as soon as I go back. So it's not a good idea for me to go back after all this
Little
time.
secret mission. Change your identity. Go to Iran.
Maybe I need to parachute in. Yeah,
Yeah.
James Bond.
James Bond.
What do you think is the biggest rumor / lie about Iran / Palestine that you can debunk?
From the Islamic Republic, you mean? Islamic Republic and Palestine. The biggest lie is that Palestine is actually made up identity. Yeah, so it was called the British Mandate for Palestine.
Yeah.
And half the Palestinians that are in Gaza are Egyptian, actually. And the ones in West Bank are Jordanians.
They speak a different
Yeah.
dialect of Arabic.
Exactly, they're Jordanian, they have Jordanian birth certificates. And I think Palestine was just used as a token by the Islamic Republic, just so they can go against Israel, and by extension, they can go against America
Yeah, just to push their agenda.
to push their agenda.
The flag was created in the 1980s.
Yeah, it's the flag of Arab unity. It's very similar
Yeah.
to the flag of Dubai.
Yeah.
So that's the and like Israel was called Palestine before because of the Romans. It was called Palestine.
Yeah.
That named it that. So I just think it's a. They say that Israel is genocidal towards the Palestinians, but actually, it's the majority of the Arab world that are genocidal against Israel because they don't think Israel should exist.
Yeah.
And when they say, "Oh, are you a Zionist?" Yes, I am a Zionist, even though I'm Iranian. What does Zionism mean? Zionism means should Israel or should Jewish people have a state? And yes, I think they should have a state. That's all that Zionism means. Apart from all these things, they try to make these triangles. Oh yeah, they control the banking system, and they are.
So you're part of the Illuminatis then.
Part of the
You're one of them, huh?
Zionism only means do Jewish people should Jewish people have a state? That's all that Zionism means. And they try to separate Zionism and Judaism. No, there's no separation. You know, so I just think, and it's like their holy land. And don't get me wrong, look, Israeli government has done some wrong. We can't be
No one's
oblivious.
perfect. There's always flaws.
There's always flaws. There are some right-wing extremists in the Israeli government. There are. We can't deny that. But overall, they say the scale of justice points more towards Israel.